Hi, welcome to this episode. I'm going to be talking about my college days in BITS Pilani and in State University of New York in Buffalo, and then University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. My high school graduation, up to the high school graduation, it went pretty smooth. I was in that Salesian school, St. Bede's High School in Chennai. And the high school I did very well. In fact, I was one of the state rank holders in my high school. And then, my high school used to be over in December because I was in the January to December schooling. So I had to wait for about 8 months till the following August when the colleges, the PUC, the pre-university college started. So in those 6 months, I did a small business venture. I used to have friends in the fisherman colony. We lived very close to the beach, and I gave some advance of 1,000 rupees each or something to about 50 fishermen, and the understanding was that they will give me all the shrimp that they would catch. And then I would collect all the shrimp, of course, for a price. The shrimp had a price, uh, and so every day I would get maybe about anywhere from 2 to 5 kilos, and so I would go to the beach around 4 o'clock in the morning because all these catamarans would start coming around 4:35, and almost everybody would be over by about 7 o'clock. So I used to go wait there because if you don't catch these guys when they come to the shore, they will not give you the shrimp because they can sell the shrimp at a better price in the market. So I have to go and catch hold of them as soon as the catamaran lands and then ask them to take out all the shrimp. And we would count, they used to give us the shrimp by count. So some people will have 5, some people 10, like that. And then I would collect, and we had to collect only shrimp about a certain length, maybe something like 5 inches or higher. And then I would have some ladies, I would hire some ladies, it was on an ongoing basis, and they would peel the shrimp for me. We had to take off the head and the below the head there used to be some soft kind of muscle. They had to remove that also. If you buy shrimp here in those frozen packets without head, you see how it is cleaned without the head. So I had to do that, and then by about 10 or 11, they would be done with that. Then I had to take them in a small container. I had to go on the local bus to a market, the wet market called Chindadri Pet Market, and I go wait there. And at a certain time, around 12 or 1 o'clock, a truck used to come, Southern Seafoods truck, and they would come and they would take all the shrimp. I would have put it in ice and kept it, and they would take the shrimp, weigh it, and take it and give me a receipt. Then once a week, I had to go with those receipts of every day. I had to go to their office, Southern Seafoods. I remember it was in Egmore on Pantheon Road near the museum, and I had to go there, and they would have my check ready by then. So I had to go give them these receipts. Of course, they would have already received the receipts from the truck every day, and they would have processed it, and they would give me the check. So that was once a week, and every day morning was this collecting the shrimp. So that was a very interesting business venture. It was a small one. Then, when my college started in August, I was done with that business. I don't know who did after that. So I got my admission at the Loyola University College at that time. Now it's a university, which was again another those Salesians, the priests run that college. So I got admission into it very easily because I was one of the state rank holders. So that was only about a 10-month course. The course was over by about March, April. And then was the whole thing about applying for colleges. I did not want to apply for IIT. I wanted to be an engineer. I didn't want to be a doctor or anything else. Engineering was what I wanted to do. And I did not apply to IITs and this and that because you had to go to the IIT where you get admission. It would not be in the Madras, the Chennai one, always. Sometimes if I was lucky I could get. But it was a national entrance exam, and based on the marks we would get allocated. So I decided not to write my IIT entrance exam. So just applied. I was so confident I will get it. Now what happened was, unfortunately, that was the year the DMK had come to power already, who are incidentally in power right now in 2021. The son is the chief minister. The father, Karunanidhi, became the chief minister. And until then in India and more in Tamil Nadu, the Brahmin community used to dominate the educational fields and all the professional fields. And the other people were not given much chance. So when Karunanidhi became the chief minister after Annadurai died, he made a unwritten rule that he didn't call Brahmins, he said no forward class people could be given admission into any engineering or medical school. Now, I was not a Brahmin. I belong to the Baniya, the Chettiar community. And in my community, we are considered educationally backward because it's the merchant caste. So, because of the ruling of the chief minister, I got unfortunately grouped into the forward class, although we were not forward class by any measure. And so I didn't get my admission into engineering. I was going to go there to the Gindi Engineering College. It's called now Annamalai College or something. So I didn't get my college admission and I was very depressed. I was very, very depressed. And so what I did, all I had to do was join the college, the same Loyola College, for a science degree, Bachelor of Science, BSc. And I didn't want to do it, but they said I couldn't be home. So I was forcibly put into the statistics group. I had no clue of what statistics was all about. And I was never interested. I would never attend my college. Some of my college mates were admitted into the catering college. It was in Taramani, the government college. And my original interest was always to become a film director. That was the thing I had to do. And in my house, they wouldn't agree. I was the only son. My mom would never agree for me to enter the film field because on those days, it's not like now. Right now, it's a very respectable, well-paying job. Those days, film field was considered uh, not acceptable to decent families, to put it mildly. So, but then the catering college and the film institute was next to each other, and I used to spend most of my days in the catering college and the film institute campus, and I was, like literally crying. How come I am not into the film institute? So then, what happened one day? It was the monsoon period. Heavy rains, and when it rains heavily, my neighborhood where I lived, this was a place between Foreshore Estate and Mandavali Pakam. We were in the middle. It used to get flooded, like knee deep flood or more. So as we were at home, those days there were no TV and all. Somebody came into our house, and he happened to be a very distant friend. He was not even a relative, and he was like kind of drenching wet. And he said he had come in a scooter, and the scooter got flooded and would not start and move. So he parked it, and he knew our house was right around the corner. So he walked up to our house, and then of course we gave him a towel, and he dried up. He was talking to me and asking me, "So what are you doing now?" Then I narrated the whole story about how I did not get my engineering admission, and now I am in BSc Statistics. This must have been around September, October. And I said, I really want to do engineering. Then he said, did you see the newspaper today, the Hindu newspaper? There was an advertisement from a place called Pilani. There's a university there called Birla Institute of Technology and Science. It used to be called BITS. So there were, it's a small advertisement. So we used to subscribe to that Hindu newspaper. So I immediately picked it up, and then there was a small ad. It was like 3 inches by 2 inches. And it said applications invited for the second semester admission for our programs. They had engineering, science, and all those things. And one thing he told me was, in this college, admission was strictly based on your marks in the qualifying exams, which was my pre-university. And he said, nobody can get admitted with, any recommendation or anything. So after he left, that sounded intriguing, but reluctantly I went ahead and applied for it, and I found out 2 or 3 of my schoolmates have already gone and admitted in BITS Pilani in the June, July, the regular semester. So I applied for admission in the second semester, and sure enough, within 2 weeks I got my letter that I am admitted. So now I have this one is we have to go to Delhi, which is a 35 to 40 hour train journey, and then from there I had to take a 6-hour bus journey through the desert. It was desert. It was in Rajasthan. Rajasthan has got that big desert there, and and in this university was right in the middle of the desert. So I got the admission, and then I prepared, and they made a jacket for me because it was a cold place. Being a desert, it would get freezing in the night. So they made me a jacket. I got 2 sweaters. Bought me in Chennai where I lived. As they say, there are only 3 seasons there: hot, hotter, and hottest. So there was never a use for sweaters. So finally the date came, and a guy who didn't want to go to the IIT because he had to leave home. Here I have to now go to the middle of the deserts to study. Anyway, it was engineering, so I was thrilled, and I started my train journey. And by the time I reached Delhi, it was like I think a 40-hour train journey, literally 2 days. And I had made friends in my where I was sitting. There were 6 people to sit in one bay. It was called a three-tier. On each side there used to be 3 berths. The bottom one was the seat during daytime, and the top one was always there, the top berth. The middle one was supposed to be folded at 9 p.m. or something. There was some rule when we wanted to sleep. And I had made a friend. There was another Tamil guy from Chennai who was working in Delhi. He was already an engineer. And when he heard that I was going to BITS Pilani, he was very encouraging. And we reached there in the evening. So he asked me, what are your plans? I said, I'm supposed to go to this place called Kashmiri Gate in Old Delhi and catch a 6-hour bus to Pilani. He said, at this time there may not be any bus or something. You have to stay somewhere. If you want to, you're welcome to come with me. I'm a bachelor. I'm staying alone. You can come and stay with me. And then tomorrow morning you can wake up and go for your bus. So I said, fine, great. There are such generous people. I was very happy. I went there and I had packed all my stuff in what is called a hold all. So it was kind of a bedding, which had pouches by the top and bottom, and in between you could put stuff, and then we would roll it and then belt it up and carry it almost like a big trunk or suitcase. So I went, I opened that, and we doubled it up as a bed because we had all the clothes inside. So I slept, and I didn't sleep. I had just lied down, and I was thinking that I wouldn't see my people now until after a year maybe. And I started feeling very depressed. So I looked at this guy who was sitting and reading something. I said, what time is the next train to Chennai, Madras? So he started laughing and he said, what happened? I said, no, I don't think I can take this. I'm going back home. He said, don't worry. We all feel like that when we leave home for the first time. Once you go there within a week, you will be okay. So he kind of gave me a pep talk and everything. And the next morning I woke up, and then I took, there was whatever mode, I forgot what it was, went to this Kashmiri Gate bus stand. It's a bus terminal. And there all the bus drivers, they would not know English, and I don't know Hindi. So somehow there was signs in English also. So I had to go to the bus counter and buy a ticket, and then find on which platform bay the bus comes. So I went there, and the bus came. I got into the bus, and then it was a 6-hour horrible drive on those roads. We went through Bhiwani and Loharu and then Pilani. It was 6 hours. In between they stopped in that Bhiwani, so we could use the bathroom and have a cup of tea. So I reached Pilani. It was freezing cold. Even in the daytime. It was because it was second semester. It was in January, and I reached there around January 6th or 7th. And even in the daytime, I was shivering. Wonder what it will be in the night. So I go there, and we were given instructions on where we should go. There was something called Buddh Bhavan. They had about 10 or 12 dormitories. So our dormitory was called Buddh Bhavan. So I had to go and meet the dormitory, the staff who was in charge of it. And then he gave me a room, allotted a room, and he called the chowkidar, the watchman, and said, take him there. So he took me to my room, and there was just a kind of a bench with wooden legs and wooden strips on the top. That's all. No light. There was electricity fan, but no bulb was not there. So I don't know how I managed. I went to the store, but they had some stores nearby outside the campus. Bought a bulb, and then my life in Pilani started.